Hello and welcome to Nana's Crafty Home. My name is Tanya. Today's tutorial is going to show you how to crochet the Mesa Sunset Cowl. This is a free pattern that you can find on my website. This is a bandana style cowl. This is made from just one skein of yarn. It works up pretty quickly with an easy stitch repeat, and it's worked from the bottom up. So we start here, work our way up with increases, and then once we stop increasing here, we just do a few rows, and then we can end up sewing this together, creating that bandana style cowl. I'm going to be using Lion brand Ferris wheel yarn. This is the same yarn that I used for this pattern. And you could substitute another yarn. This is considered a medium 4-weight acrylic. You could certainly substitute another yarn of your choosing, but I really do love how soft this yarn is and the beautiful colorways that are available as well. You're also going to need a size H or a 5.0 millimeter crochet hook, as well as 2 stitch markers. It takes approximately 1 cake or 1 skein of yarn, and that is 270 yards, 3 ounces, 247 meters of yarn. The approximate finished size is 16 inches from that front tip where we begin and 14 inches wide. Let's go ahead and get started. Because there's a lot of halo around the Ferris wheel yarn, which makes it very soft. It's a very soft yarn. It makes it difficult to see the stitches in a tutorial. So I'm going to be using a cotton yarn to help with stitch definition, to make it easier for you to see the stitches as I'm working them as well. So we're going to go ahead and start with a chain 2. And I'm going to be working in that second chain from the hook. So I'm going to skip that first chain, and in that second chain I'm going to work 1 single crochet, chain 1, 1 single crochet for row 1. And now I'm just going to be working increases for the first 71 rows. So I'm going to turn, chain 1, and I'm going to work a single crochet, chain 1 in that same stitch. So at the base of that chain 1, work a single crochet, chain 1. Now in that chain 1 space from that previous row, you might have to wiggle your fingers around there to find that chain 1 space, but in that chain 1 space you're going to work a single crochet, chain 1, and then in that last stitch work a single crochet. So that's row 2 complete. Turn, and this is our repeat row. Chain 1, single crochet, chain 1 in that same stitch, and in every chain 1 space I'm going to work a single crochet, chain 1. In the next chain 1 space, single crochet, chain 1, and then single crochet in the last stitch. And you're just going to be repeating that for all of your increase rows. So turn, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, that same stitch, then that next chain 1 space, single crochet, chain 1, and the next chain 1 space here, single crochet, chain 1, and the next chain 1 space, single crochet, chain 1, and then single crochet in the last stitch. Turn, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1 in that first stitch, single crochet, chain 1 in each chain 1 space till we get to the end, and then single crochet in the last stitch. And what you're going to be looking for is that you're going to be starting to grow a triangle, basically, because we're working increases. You're going to be starting this shape, and you're just going to be continuing. It's going to continue growing until we stop working our increases. So continue repeating row 3 through row 71. Now I'm not going to be working my sample here for the tutorial all the way through the cowl. So we're going to pretend that I've worked through row 71. Once you finish row 71, we're going to stop increasing. So now our cowl is just going to be moving straight up for our rows, no longer creating a triangle shape. So what you're going to want to do at this point before you move on to row 72 is to mark row 71. So that way when we finish our cowl, we know where we stopped increasing. So you're just going to place stitch markers basically at the end of each of those rows. And you're just going to leave them there. They're not going to get in your way. They're just going to hang out. And that's just going to make it easier to sew our cowl together. So for row 72, I'm going to chain 1 and single crochet in that first stitch, which is the base of that chain 1, no different than our increase rows. But then I'm going to work a single crochet in the next chain 1 space. I did not chain 1. Then I'm going to chain 1 and single crochet in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1 in the next chain 1 space, single crochet, chain 1 in the next, single crochet, chain 1 in the next, single crochet in the next chain 1 space. That's actually the last chain 1 space, and instead of chaining 1, I'm going to just single crochet in that last stitch. Turn for row 73, chain 1, single crochet in that first stitch, chain 1, single crochet in the next chain 1 space. So I'm going to be skipping over that single crochet, chain 1 in the next chain 1 space, single crochet, chain 1 in the next, single crochet, chain 1 in the next, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, skip over the next single crochet, and single crochet in the last stitch. So now you're going to be repeating row 72 and 73. We're going to alternate between those rows, and that stops. You can already see, even with those just two rows, you can already see the difference. Instead of continuing out with my increases, they're now going straight up, my rows, and that's what you're looking for. And you're going to be repeating those 2 rows through row 83. So when we turn, we're going to repeat row 72 by chaining 1, single crochet in that same stitch, single crochet in that chain 1 space, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, all the way across in all those chain 1 spaces, and then single crochet in that last stitch. I did not chain 1 before that last single crochet. Turn, chain 1, single crochet in that same stitch, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1 in the next chain 1 space, in each chain 1 space, single crochet, chain 1. And just continue that on down your row. And now you can really see the difference. Having done 4 rows, you can see that triangle shape has stopped, and these are going straight up now. So just continue on rows 72 and 73, repeating that through row 83. And then we're going to be ready to sew the edges of our cowl together. Okay, so you can see here that I've worked a few rows of no increase. So I have a flat edge here. This cowl is quite a bit smaller than what your finished cowl will look like. I ended up going ahead and making one for my granddaughter, so I decreased the number of rows that I did for increases and also decreased these rows as well. So the cowl is quite a bit smaller, but it gives you the general idea. And then what you're going to be doing is you're going to be folding the 2 edges together, and you're going to want to see which side you want as your right side. It's not really going to make much difference. They look pretty much the same. And you're going to fold those edges together, and you're going to cut a long strand of yarn. I recommend that it be 2 to 3 times the length of what you're sewing, plus enough to weave in the end. So this is just a short area that we're seaming. So I would just do that, then add a little bit for weaving in. And I left those stitch markers, as I had advised you to mark the end of your increase rows. So that way when we go to sew this seam together, we know where to stop. So we're going to start seaming at the top end and work our way down. So we're going to put the end on our tapestry needle, and working from this top edge, we're just going to be seaming that edge together. So you're going to want to come over to the very top so we don't have a gap, and just work back and forth. Picking up an end on both sides and evenly work our way down. And once we get to those stitch markers, we know we're done. And so that's pretty invisible here. And then what you're going to do is just weave in your end, and your cowl is complete. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial today. Thanks so much for being with me. As always, remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you never miss a new video. You can find all of my free patterns at nanascraftyhome.com, where you can also find a lot of other useful tutorials and helpful information. Thanks everyone. I will see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.